I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite
podcast
on the Citadel.
Hey everyone, Tucker here, and this is podcast Accidentally Casual, where casual conversations come up accidentally. Right here are my co-hosts, Minius from Minius GC.
Yo.
And Seeker from BioWare Central.
Why, hello there.
Why did you insist on doing that?
Because I just had, that was in my head for a few days, because it's Accidentally Casual, where casual things come up accidentally. I was like, that's a ringer.
That's right.
That does actually sound pretty good. I like it.
It's a podcast for BioWare fans and more, or fans of BioWare-like games. We've had the intro. We're going to try to release this weekly. This is the fourth time we've recorded this podcast.
Yes, because Seeker was plagued with technical difficulties. Oh, please don't let me become someone who's going to refer to herself in the third person.
And with a fake name, too.
Yeah.
Is that the fourth or fifth person at that point?
I don't know. It's like that joke in Deadpool. It's like a fourth wall break and a fourth wall break. That's like 16 walls.
So anyway, we're going to try to release Tuesdays at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. in the UK. But for now, check our Twitter feeds. I'm at MiniusGC. Tucker manages N7 Follower, and SeekerCat is at SeekerCat5500. We'll eventually get to Tuesday. I think this thing's going to end up coming out on Thursday. But yeah. you'll get our podcasts on our YouTube channels or also on SoundCloud. All right, so let's get going. We need a logo, and none of us are talented enough for that. So we're gonna have.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty good with Microsoft Paint. If you have so very much seen the new IP.
Let me repeat that. None of us are good enough for that.
No, yeah.
And Tucker has
Tucker's
proof.
attempts at Microsoft Paint.
So we're gonna have a contest, and you can win $50 US dollars for winning a logo.
As
so
opposed
check
to Canadian dollars.
which I believe US dollars are worth more right now. Maybe.
Yeah. Thanks, Brexit.
I don't think Canada cares about Brexit. They used to.
It's a great thing to do on a BioWare podcast. Get political.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
have you seen a BioWare comment section?
That's true.
have you seen any comment section, basically?
No, but
That's true.
BioWare
That's true,
comment sections in particular.
All right.
I adore BioWare fans, but some people just go off the frickin' rails.
Yeah, we'll try to re-rail this.
Yeah.
Please do not send us a political logo. We want a regular logo. You can win $50. Check our channels for details on that. Hopefully if it's not up yet, it'll be up in the next couple days. Also, we will accept art for our slideshow. And this slideshow features some of my art because I feel like shoving it down your throat because nobody liked it last time I did it. Tucker's seen my art.
To be fair, Minius, it's the only thing you get to shove down someone's throat. Ayo!
That's classy.
Oh, yes. Classy lady.
Now I'm quadrupling the thing.
you could make fan-made art or stuff, or memes, or just anything that you want to share, as long as it's not would make our YouTube video get flagged. Share it. We'll put it up. It's a picture of your cat. Cool. I love it.
Maybe.
At least let's try and have a stab at attempting to make it somewhat BioWare related.
That's
the
BioWare. So if it's your cat wearing an N7 jacket.
Oh, it's cute.
There we go.
That is kind of cute.
Like cats
I'll probably
wearing stuff.
So generally I try to get pictures that follow the weekly topic, and this week we're going to try to talk about Anthem because we scheduled this podcast directly after Anthem news came out, and then we didn't succeed in recording it
4 times.
So basically new stuff came out about Anthem, and we're going to talk about things that have us, interesting things we've heard about Anthem so far.
Hey, I'll commit to this. I'm excited for Anthem.
You're very excited for Anthem.
I am very excited for Anthem.
You're by far the most excited out of all of us for Anthem.
Woo!
Right? Tucker, what's your excitement level on Anthem?
I'm pretty excited about it, but there's other games that are more piquing my interest.
Yeah, I said on one of the other podcasts we recorded and is not coming out that out of all the games that I absolutely know I'm going to buy, Anthem is the one that I'm least excited for. Because I haven't No, what do you mean you wouldn't say that? Of course you wouldn't say that. You're excited for it. You have your
I
own
am
individual
excited.
person, and I'm a different person.
You commit to it then, Minion.
I'm not
Jesus
saying that you are the least excited about it. That's weird. But in fact, the thing that I'm most interested in Anthem is seeing what the hell BioWare's up to. But let's go. Interesting things could vary drastically. Tucker, are you aware enough to have anything that you want to talk about?
I just put some food in my mouth.
All right, Seeker, what do you have to say about Anthem?
What do I have to say
I'm
about
sorry, the
Anthem?
spicy shrimp wins.
Oh my god.
Tucker, am I going to have to edit out your eating noises?
I'm leaning away from the mic as much as
Do you
I
know
can.
the last show we did, the one that we actually fully recorded, you were like jingling your keys into the microphone the whole time?
That was my dog. That was him scratching his collar.
Okay, all right. I'm glad that it wasn't
I'm
you.
not sitting there with like a pair of keys, like a toddler. Like
I thought that's what you're doing. I'm like, this is ridiculous. I almost directly
Well,
called you
excited.
up on the telephone to yell at you.
No, that was my dog going haywire
Okay.
in the back.
Anyway, my thoughts on Anthem, just to try and get us on point. Basically, with the pack stuff, bear in mind, like I will freely admit, it certainly wasn't the most exciting panel I've seen at a PAX, but I think what they're trying to do is cement that yes, they are still BioWare, yes, they are still making games for BioWare players, and they're not just trying to chase a new market. So there was a heavy focus with, oh, there's still story, there's still characters, there may not be romance anymore, at least at launch, but story is still very much their focus, and I think that's a very reassuring position for them to take up. Because put it this way, if let's say, for example, if EA had been the ones to be like, oh, make us a multiplayer game to rival Destiny, if that had been the pitch, then there would be no benefit for EA to just say, to have BioWare come out and say, oh no, we're still going to cater to the fans of our previous games. They would just have them chasing the new crowd. But the fact that BioWare came out and really, really put their foot down and said, like, no, there's new features that will benefit the story and you'll be able to shape your story. I mean, the whole feature was called My Story, Our World. Was it
Our World,
Yeah.
My Story?
Yeah,
It was Our
where's
World,
the
Your
heart?
Story, and it should have stayed that way. What's with the my?
I don't know.
It's you have to read their.
I've had too much caffeine and I
No,
can't read.
I'm not.
right
I'm
now.
not. No. You're correct. That they changed it from Our World, My Story, but then you actually have to read their tagline for it to apply to you. It's not a good. It's
I don't
not a
know.
good tagline. Anyway, you're right. They are trying to make it somewhat BioWare-ish, but right now it feels like a half BioWare, half Destiny game, and I have no idea if that's going to work. None at all. Be interesting to look at, but I'm not sure what the excitement level is for this game overall. You know, I mean,
I'd say
I know you're
people seem
interested.
excited. No, I know I'm interested. I'm saying, I've heard murmurings. I've heard people responding to Anthem. They say, like in the community, people seem to be tentatively excited. I think
Okay.
with the E3 presentation, that soothed a lot of people's worries.
Maybe it's just where we're looking, but I've seen mostly people going, I don't know, and kind of more on the lines of, I don't think I'm going to buy this game yet. I want to see what they have. They're not excited, but they're not ruling it out yet.
I get that.
Speaking of one of the points that I came up with on Pies, you mentioned this is a BioWare game, not an EA game that said, hey, you guys do this.
Yeah.
That is something that's actually Jonathan Warner of BioWare came out and said that this is more of an evolution of BioWare games. EA did not push for Anthem. This is all BioWare, which I don't necessarily believe, but like you said, there isn't really a good reason for him to come out and say that if it's not true.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he couldn't come out and say this is absolutely an EA game. They pushed us to do this. We didn't want to. That would completely derail the project.
They're like, well, you're
and,
fired.
and get him fired, yeah.
It would be like, I'm just going to pull a Roxanne Barr right now. Roseanne Barr right now. Jesus Christ.
At some
I know
point, and
people.
I think I've said this in previous episodes. So this is Anthem. It's very clearly along the lines of Destiny and in a way the Division, and neither of those games really lived up to the potential of it so far. There's a really good game in that system, a really good game, and
In which one?
in the entire concept of a hybrid MMO RPG type setting.
You mean World of Warcraft?
Hybrid. I would say that World of Warcraft is a full-on MMO with a bunch
Yeah.
of dudes running around. This is
I
more
would
of a
say, yeah.
console hybrid. You're not running into an area with like 40 dudes beating on this poor little like tiny little rabbit, which is fun by the way, but that's not what the game is.
I would like to see that though. In Anthem, can you imagine like what would a bunny rabbit even resemble in the world of Anthem?
Well, they could make a
Probably a bunny
gigantic
rabbit.
one, yeah, like one of those like bear-sized ones, but
Like
Wouldn't that
I
be-
can't think of a single thing we've seen in Anthem that remotely
no,
resembles
big
there's
cute.
been nothing. There was
Like
a.
the only animal we've seen has been like the wall bear.
I'm gonna-
Six now. It's been
I'm gonna
confirmed,
assume
but-
neither of you guys have played Dragon's Crown.
I thought you were about to say Dragon Age.
Dragon's Crown. That's right. It's not Dragon Age. It's a side scroller beat 'em up with ridiculous sexual Japanese drawings.
Of course.
Anyway, one of the bosses that you're like heading up to the boss, and people keep on. They're like, "There's this terrifying beast coming up." It's a rabbit. It's a tiny little rabbit that can one shot you.
Well, someone's a fan of Monty Python.
Yeah.
It was great. Anyway,
Fun fact, I went and saw Spamalot back in the day, and in the foyer, Spamalot the musical, they sold slippers that were the killer bunny rabbit. You could sort of open the mouth flaps, and they had like little teeth, and it was adorable. I wish I'd got a pair.
There was also I also just remember there was a book a long time ago called like Bunnicula. It was like a Dracula bunny.
That's cute. One of the most
I'm not the only one that's remembering that. There's got to be other people that read like Bunnicula or whatever, however you pronounce it.
I guarantee you that English listeners will remember Duckula, which is a kid's cartoon that was a duck that was a vegetarian vampire. And it was amazing.
how does that work?
So now I've done the D-Rick.
no,
because
I definitely started this.
Okay, yeah, so let's
I
commit
mean,
to it.
a fruit bat. So he was bitten by a fruit bat.
No, he wasn't.
Oh.
Literally the whole intro of the show is that he comes from a long line
It was
of...
a show?
There was a whole cartoon show. I'm going to send you a YouTube link, and Minions can choose to put it in the thing or not, but I will send you a link. But
At this
it's
point-
so good. It's so good. But it's like so creepy, and it starts off with like, oh yes, once there was a line of vicious vampire ducks. But then one day they have to resurrect the Count Duckulas every so often because they die or like go to sleep in a coffin. But instead of putting blood in the mixture, they put ketchup instead. So he's a vampire duck. He's a vegetarian vampire duck this time around. And he doesn't like violence at all.
Kids shows can be so weird.
Oh, English kids shows, you have no idea. Like
I-
nobody cared.
I like
I mean, what
Canadian
about Courage
kid
the
shows.
Cowardly Dog?
Canadian kid
What
shows.
about
are
Courage
just
the
as
Cowardly
weird.
Dog?
I don't think that's very weird.
No, Courage was amazing.
Courage the Cowardly Dog. I love
Courage!
that show.
Courage was, that entire show was on acid and everything, and that show was just amazing.
Yeah. Creepy as hell.
I'm trying to think of the most amazing segue ever to bring us back to
Yeah.
Anthem. It doesn't exist.
Hey, that spider monster. Pretty creepy, right? Yeah, there we go.
Actually, that is the one thing that I've seen about Anthem that I'm more excited for is killing enormous monsters. I like
yeah,
that a
'cause
lot
they-
better than killing like people. Or
Because what's the biggest thing we've ever had to fight in a BioWare game that wasn't like a Reaper or a Construct, but
Or
was
a
a flesh
proto-Reaper?
and blood? 'Cause the only thing that's coming
the
to mind for me is like
dragons?
the Brute. Like the dragons, yeah, but it's I suppose, but
there was
to
the
me,
robot
dragons
dragon
feel-
in Andromeda.
Yeah, that thing. But that totally falls under a Construct. But with the dragons as well, it just they don't get me wrong, they're terrific boss fights, but I did it. I think the thing I've liked the most, and I maybe this falls under a construct, was my favourite flesh and blood-ish thing we've had to fight was the what was the Krogan Turian hybrids called?
Oh, the brutes.
The brutes. Yeah, I was going to call them brutes, and for some reason I thought that was wrong. But yeah, the brutes were pretty cool. Yeah, I know things.
I know things.
I know things.
I expert.
I is smart. SMRT.
So, the scars in Anthem
Yeah.
are made of bugs.
They are
they're
insect-like
bugs.
mimics. That's what Mokdara
Wait,
said.
hold on. Are they
Yeah.
actually bugs, or are they made up of a bunch of little tiny bugs?
Well,
Mark Dara
it's like
said-
that creature is a bunch of bugs that are like makes the arm and makes the legs and
So it's like
stuff
a
that.
bunch
That
of
was
bugs
a-
stuck together. Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, I was telling
Yeah.
this to the guys beforehand, but
It reminds me a lot of the Legolo from Halo, which are the worms that form the hunters.
Wait, Tucker,
Ew.
Tucker, do you like Halo?
I do, dude. Halo's awesome.
That's amazing.
But, the worms will come together and they'll go inside like the armor, and that's what makes the hunter.
that is horrifying.
And so it's very. It reminds me a lot of the scars, how they're similar.
Yeah, because I was telling you guys that I went and hit pause on those the slides for the mission, and they have like little lore bits, and there's an eyewitness account from Arcanist Records talking about the scars, where they have a quote. It wasn't just 4 or 5 insects. It was thousands, an entire colony working together to make arms and legs, to be people. It's like, oh, that shit is creepy. I like the sound of this.
Why are we killing those things? They sound adorable.
They want to be
I mean, there are
us.
people that have pet. I mean, there are people that have like pet cockroaches that just like to make terrible decisions in life. But
Oh, that's different. Like these are like imagine these bugs. They're trying so hard to be people, and then you run in and like destroy them with rockets to loot them.
Minis, question.
That's so
Question.
messed up.
that's what you get for trying to evolve.
Minis, so I have a question.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the movie Single White Female? Now, would you want to recreate this movie with a giant insect?
I
thing?
haven't, and the answer is no.
Yes. Because the answer is always no, because giant freaking insect thing.
But they're just like, you're going out of your way to kill things, right?
Yes.
That was one of my favorite things about like the Monster Hunter games. Mm-hmm. You're killing big animals, but you're basically running around killing animals to eat them.
I think you're technically like getting
it's so messed up.
the cute little kitty cats to cook a really awesome looking meal for
It's
you.
so messed up.
Yeah.
That's basically, but I just picture like this bug's like, all right, we worked 50 generations to imitate them humans, and we're like, some little bug creature comes over and waves to you, and you just blow it away with a shotgun.
Clearly, you haven't seen my reaction to when there's a spider in my house, which is to get the biggest thing I can find and throw it.
But
at them.
that's an individual spider that might bite you. These are like adorable bugs that are trying to be human.
They look pretty creepy to me.
It reminds me of like the spider, like the friend spider meme thing.
Oh yeah. Just one of those photos of like a house that's on fire. So I saw a spider. I think it's gone now.
Misunderstood
Oh, yeah.
spider is what it's called.
Since we're doing this show a little differently because we have to, because the 4th time over we're doing the same thing. Stop sending pictures, Tucker. God damn it. I need to turn off my notifications. It interrupts me every single time.
So another big Anthem news.
Yes.
All DLC is going to be free.
Yeah.
See, no,
Oh,
no.
All single player
well, the
DLC.
exact
No, try again.
wording they've said
Try again.
is that they're not gonna lock any story content behind a paywall. So I can imagine
That's-
there's some, but like this is me speculating. There will probably be maybe some DLC of like Stronghold stuff, but it doesn't seem like they're going to say, oh, you can't. They're not going to hold people back and say, oh, here's a story quest you can't access because of, you don't have this particular bit of DLC. So I imagine there'll be loot and stuff that you can't get if you don't have DLC, but as I said, they have explicitly said they're not going to lock off any story content behind a paywall, which is definitely admirable.
You're going after an article, and basically what they've said is story DLC would be free, but that leaves
all right.
lots of other kinds of DLC that may not be free. So
But something that I do like it, because Anthem is, even though you can play single player, it's more for people playing with friends. And what I like that this is sounding like it's doing is what other games have done with multiplayer DLC, and some of them will have free multiplayer DLC. And the reason being is that they don't want to limit the amount that fans can play with their friends and things like that. Like, if you want to play multiplayer, but your friend doesn't have the DLC, so you can't really play together, it sounds like that's what they're doing here. They want to make sure that you're not limited playing with your friends, that you don't both have to buy it, that you're both able to just continue playing it if you want, for free.
All right, Seeker, you officially passed me up as the loser of this week's episode by trying to post videos for Tucker to watch while we're recording in the podcast. You know he's going to watch that and ignore us for the next 30 minutes. God damn it.
And bold of you
right,
to assume I don't
what are-
normally send Tucker videos and stuff whilst we're doing this.
I'm aware of that, but now it's out of hand. Tucker, well, Tucker's going to... I can't tell Tucker what to do, ever. I don't even know why I thought about trying.
Tucker is an entity in and of himself.
Yeah, but I'm also lovable.
The other thing, and
Oh.
let's see, I'll go over all my points. The thing that had me weirdly enough, and this is because I'm really nerdy, and I don't know why I like surprises me.
Shock.
It surprises me how much of a nerd I am. Every other month I do something that's even nerdier than I thought I could do. Like, for instance, I just spent 16 hours recording text in the Mass Effect games of lore, and I'm serious, like, just text. That's ridiculous. And guess what? Anthem has a codex. I can do that again.
This is my life now.
Like, woo, it has a codex. I can read stuff. That was one of the larger mistakes that Destiny has made continuously, in my opinion.
Well, it's just...
is you have to go out. You have to really go out of your way to find Destiny
Not only do you have to
lore.
go out of your way to
go
find
online.
it, you've got to get lore off of the loot, and it's all like pieced together of like, oh, this is a snippet of a conversation that someone said, and it's just like, bear in mind, I like, My Name is Bife and other channels like him do great jobs trying to piece this stuff together, but as someone who's like just trying to play the game and have a general understanding of how the world works, it's a very frustrating experience.
That's like, so they have these long loading screens, right? To get into like PvP matches or going. That is a perfect time to throw up some lore.
That was one thing that drove me nuts about
time.
Dragon Age, which was Inquisition in particular. You had loading screens, right? But, and they would be these little cards of lore-based things that you could flip between, right? But here's the thing, they only stayed up on the screen for about 20 seconds, and then it would hit a hard black, where you were just sat there waiting for the thing to load. It's just like, get the lore screen back up.
It didn't quite work.
Not
then?
quite.
I'm trying. I don't remember that. Tucker, how many loading screens did you get when you were playing Dragon Age
2.
Inquisition?
I mean,
loading the game and then loading into the hinterlands?
Technically. I'm trying to think, like, Skyrim in Fallout, I think that does that as well.
I
the Elder
actually
Scrolls
play with
series
a
and
mod that expands
series,
on
I
the
think-
lore screens that has like lore from across the whole Elder Scrolls franchise.
So it does have that on there, where sometimes it'll have, like, sometimes it'll say, like, how to play the game or, like, a little bit control thing, but sometimes it'll have lore up there.
Did
and that's
you
really
know
cool when they
there's
do
a
that.
jump button in this game? Really?
Dude, there was one of my favorite games of all time
Doom has
now.
the best loading screens.
This is Helldivers, which I really hope they're making a sequel to. And it's a ridiculous multiplayer game where you can shoot your friends. So if you're playing with Tucker, you couldn't beat anything because he'd just shoot you. But they show tips in between, like when you're loading up. And one of the tips was, did you know that we show tips in loading screens?
There was one in Doom, the new one, the 2016 Doom. One of the loading screens was, if the enemy has a head, that's its weak spot.
Very good.
That's great.
So
tell us in the comments below, what was your favorite loading screen joke?
So this is what happens when we record, like, seriously talk about Anthem for 3 straight podcasts.
We
and
exhaust
it doesn't
our
make
material,
it online,
and then we just...
And now we don't want to go back to it.
We're trying to actively avoid talking about Anthem.
What javelin do y'all want to? Are y'all going to use first?
Leaning towards Storm or Interceptor, probably depending on who I'm playing with, whoever they're going to be. I'll probably flip a coin between Storm or Interceptor.
You're wrong. You're going to play the Ranger first because you have to.
Okay, when you get a choice, Midius,
yeah.
Jesus Christ.
What's going to be your main one then?
Stop being such a killjoy, damn it.
Or what's going to be your main one? But what it seems, it seems like, or not seems, Mark Dara.
I say Dara, but I think that's just, I think it's a tomato thing,
Dara?
honestly.
There's got to be a real way to say his name.
Vote in the comments. How do you?
It might be
name?
Dara, because he's in Canada right now and they have A's specific
so his name is.
How do you say pasta in Canadian? It's pasta.
Pasta.
But he kind of sneakily said that the Storm is the healing class.
I like playing.
Because someone asked to him, will there be any kind of healing class or support class like that? And his response was, we're not ready to talk about the Storm
Well,
yet.
that's very intentional. I actually picked up...
I saw that, yeah, there was someone asking if they didn't have to kill anybody, and yeah, he said you could be a Storm. I assumed that was more of a, like a glass cannon suit, but it doesn't look like it.
And it also kind of... It was easy to predict that the Storm was going to be the support one. Specifically, like, the Colossus is the tank, the Ranger is the kind of standard, the all-around. Interceptor, from the way its body looks and everything like that, you can tell that's going to be either the long range or up close. It'll be like one of those.
Long range or close? As if there's anything in between.
Well,
there's intermediate.
Yeah, there's middle. The all-rounder. So with that, and then it's like, well, you don't have one that, because you need like the medic on the team. It's like Team Fortress 2 or Overwatch or any of that stuff. Like there's still medic classes to play as, so it's like, it seems like that would be the Storm one, as well as the stereotype of like that's the magic kind of one. So that's the one that can heal and support.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go I think at some point we should have a podcast. We're gonna have a lot of different podcasts, but in one of the future ones we'll have combination excitements and concerns about Anthem.
Yeah. Depending on what they've said that week.
One of the things, fortunately, it doesn't appear like they're going into space. But I hate space magic. I really do.
I love space magic.
It looks like it all takes place kind of like on a planet.
Yeah.
And they said that it's grounded in some form of reality or some form of like believable
I think
reality.
I heard it.
I'll tell you what. I'm really hoping.
Sorry, yeah.
I'm really hoping that those humans that you're there come from Earth, and there's a story like how they got there.
I hope they come
That'll
from
get
Galactica.
me interested. I hope they come from the Dragon Age universe.
That would be amazing.
They're like, "Where's Alistair? What happened?"
Are you ready? Are you ready for this? This is going to be the biggest secret, biggest release thing.
Way to spoil it.
So you load up Anthem. It goes through, has an awesome cutscene and everything like that. It's like it says Anthem, and then underneath it says like Baldur's Gate 3.
Just like a big squiggly
I have a feeling that would piss off Baldur's Gate fans like no other.
That I just want that to happen.
Like a Kuzco jumps through the screen with a big squiggly Sharpie and squiggles out the Anthem logo and writes on Baldur's Gate on the screen.
Baldur's Gate 3.
What if the game is completely different and it ends up really being a Baldur's Gate game and there are no suit mechs?
What a plot twist that would be.
Like they've literally showed no gameplay
Would that
yet?
be like the ultimate revenge for the indoctrination theory not being a thing? Is like, right, we're going to troll you bastards so hard, you have no idea.
Anyway, you can email in questions to us at accidentallycasual@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Scott Jones had a question, and he wrote it in all caps.
Yeah.
Is Tucker working for EA? And if so, why did they hire him?
Even better, why is Trucker working at EA? So are we sure he's talking? Yeah.
Wait, what?
He wrote it Trucker.
Did
yeah.
He did write it Trucker, yeah.
Oh. So are we sure he's referring to me?
No, but you used to work at EA, right?
Yeah, I did contract work on Madden 19, and I'm qualified for that because I focused my entire college education on gaming, as well as work on small games, and I do a lot of game design stuff.
That was one of the two most interesting things when we met up at EA headquarters. You had a very serious streak that I wasn't expecting. And
I can be professional.
yeah, you can,
really
which I did not think was possible.
No.
So that was good. The second thing is that BioFan dropped Tucker and I like they're nerdy kids at high school and went and hang out with the cool YouTubers.
Yeah, he did. He hopped ships.
Just because he can actually pass himself off as a cool YouTuber, where you guys are just dorks sat in the corner.
Tucker, Bife, and I are sitting at a table talking, and like we literally waved to BioFan as he's walking by. Did not even look at us.
Aww.
He just kept on going, and we're looking at each other like, "What the hell is that?"
Speaking of cool
Like,
YouTubers,
I'm sorry,
and a funny
gamer
story.
gamer 83 is here. I'm not talking to you.
Speaking of cool YouTubers and a funny story, Ability Drain recently posted a photo saying, like, "Oh, I'm like," she was making a joke about a sign, and I was like, "Oh, that's not too far away from where I live." And I sent her a message saying, "Oh, do you want to swing by and have a cup of tea or something?" And she said, "Oh no, I'm going to a wedding." And I was like, "Oh, that's interesting." And just talked for a little bit, and then she said, "Hey, you want to crash?" And I was like, "You know what? I've got nothing else to do today." So I crashed Ability Drain's wedding. Oh, well, not her wedding, her brother's wedding, rather.
Wait,
yeah,
wait,
I crashed
what?
Ability Drain's brother's wedding by invitation. And it was fun.
All right.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, there was a time Bife was in Orlando, and I reached out to see if he wanted to hang out, but that was his last day he was here when I saw that he was at Disney. I was
That's
like,
what he said.
damn, but...
But oh my god, Tucker's messaging here. I can't let him know I'm here for another week.
Fuck, I gotta leave... Shit, he knows I'm
Yep.
here. I gotta leave the States.
Speaking of questions that you can send to accidentallycasual@gmail.com, Brian Henry, who was actually a big fan of BioWare all the way down, played Baldur's Gate, bought all their games, who didn't really enjoy Inquisition or Andromeda, wants to know that he doesn't really seem interested in this game. And I suppose the question that we're going to answer here is, if this game flops, does BioWare survive?
I would say yes.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why. Because, for one thing, we know, like, going into before they announced Anthem, we knew pretty much that they had at least 3 projects in the works. Because Anthem was codename Project Dylan. There's a codename Project Joplin in the works. And that is a different project than the Dragon Age 4 that totally no one is working on and no one knows anything about. Mr. Mark Dara, who is listing himself as executive
Triple
producer.
wink.
Yeah, triple wink. Not to mention that, oh, did you catch that in the Anthem panel? Is that when they were talking about Fort Tarsis being a hub world, and bear in mind Mark Dara is the executive producer for Anthem and Dragon Age specifically. He said, "Oh, maybe we'll have something like this in the future of Dragon Age and other BioWare franchises." It's like I caught that. It's like, so are we gonna? I hope we actually have a decent city to wander around in, or at least type of atmosphere in Dragon Age 4, because that was the thing that really I felt a little bit let down by in Inquisition, is that all of bear in mind that was the first time you got to go to Valrio, which is the capital city of Orlais, which is this rival kingdom, and it's like, oh, I wanted to see this place because we only heard about it in lore, and you go into it and there's like 5 people and 1 place you can go to, and it's like, this is the capital city? Are you fucking serious? And you bear in mind that I've been reading about this shit for years. So when I was like, there's 1 place, there's 1 fountain I can go to? Are you serious? And that was really disappointing. So the idea of in the next one we're going to have, a city with actual moving people, and yeah, I would love to see that.
That is one of the things I'm looking forward to as video game technology progresses, is that these worlds, especially these hub cities that you go to, are going to be absolutely packed.
Oh, yeah.
And interesting.
Oh,
and
yeah. I think
that's
there's
cool.
only one... In the Anthem, I think there's only 1 hub area.
Fort Tarsis, yeah. You have, from
Yeah.
what I can see, I've had a look at the footage. There seems to be a handful of different locations, but they all seem to be in Fort Tarsis that have the same sort of characters. At one point you see Halleck, the guy who Nick Tarabay plays, sat that sort of stood next to a bar. There's another thing that's clearly a cave of some sort where some sort of deal is going on, and Halleck's there as well. So it's oh, there's clearly they shift up the location so it's visually interesting, but it does seem that. And how, oh god, yeah, how gorgeous did the view from your balcony of your apartment at Fort Tarsis look? Do you remember when they showed that?
No, but thank you.
Well, they stopped the project dead to say, oh, here's the view from your apartment.
I would love it if it was absolute garbage. Like, just total piles of garbage. And you're just like, aren't you glad you're a freelancer? That's the one thing. Like they're talking, like, okay, so freelancer, they're trying to make that into a positive. Like, you're, like, good for human. Dude, if you're a freelancer, normally you're a douchebag. You're like a mercenary. You're like, pay me.
I would say, honestly, between, like, the Herald, Commander, they're sort of running out of titles to give you.
I guess so.
The Warden, the Champion, you know, there's only so many they can friggin' come up with.
I bet they could
the
come up with something.
Pathfinder, you know, it's like they need to come up with something super dramatic sounding, and it's like, yeah, the freelancer's fine, I'll take it.
Okay. I just like why aren't we getting respect? We're freelancers. I saw it in there. I'm like, you're not getting any respect because you call yourself a freelancer.
Oh, did you get the guy who was like, he wants to make the freelancers great again? I was like, really? Okay, fair enough.
So, what if the way that Anthem ends?
Because we know
like,
that.
Well, the end story of Anthem. This is just like.
Do you think Anthem will end?
Ever?
So.
Yeah.
Another. This is kind of another just crazy thing, just because the Baldur's Gate thing, similar to that.
Oh my god.
You're going through, you're exploring this big wreckage and things like that. It's like at the end, it's like this is where a lot of them are getting the source of their power. It's where the Scars have been getting their weapons, like all that stuff. And, going through, you're finding out. And the very last thing on the side of this big wreckage is just the Corian ship.
Don't
the
do
Corian
that.
Ark.
The Keela's alive.
They're like, what happened? Why are we on this weird planet with bug people?
And then the screen goes to black and it says Mass Effect 4 or something like that, and then a date.
And it'll be the next week. Holy shit!
I'm just. By the way,
that would be a twist.
Casey Hudson has now teased Mass Effect multiple times in the last week.
Well,
oh yeah,
that's kind of irritating me.
It doesn't irritate me. It's just like
it irritates me. There's no way that game can come out in the next 7 years.
It's his baby, for God's sake.
Okay,
he always has been honest and say look, that game that franchise is my baby. So there's no way he was going to leave it sat dormant.
As well as it is possible that they could have been working on it for some time. They just don't want to say anything about it because they don't want attention taken away from Anthem.
The most, I mean, since EA or BioWare Montreal has been reconstituted into EA. The most games they can work on at the same time, BioWare that is 2, right? So you got Anthem, and then you got the next Dragon Age game, and then there's no way they're not doing another Anthem after that unless it bombs. So then you can get a Mass Effect.
Considering all this focus on live services, as the game industry is like to call it, I would say the Anthem team will be, for at least a solid year or two, be focusing exclusively on Anthem 1.
Correct.
That would be...
And then addition... This is what I'm saying. There's a lot of things to work on before you can get to a Mass Effect.
Exactly.
As well, I mean... And this is also just... Everyone knows that people will work on multiple games at a time. When I was working on Madden 19, before Madden 19 was released, there were people already starting to work on Madden 20.
Which is not the same game at all. Everything in it is different. It's not even football.
We need to add, slightly tweak the graphics.
Sorry, I'm giving you shit, dude. Those games are identical.
Yeah. I mean, not really from what I played, but yeah, but no.
From when you played, did they change the rules of the game?
I mean, it's still football, but it's just the
American football,
the game modes and things like that.
Name football actually comes from the British, so it's your fault.
It is not our fault. You guys
it totally
to
is your fault.
Bastardize our language.
No. You had versions of football, a whole bunch of different ones, and so we came up with our own versions of football, and so did the Australians and the Canadians.
I mean, Australians call it gridiron. And that's badass.
To be fair, it would not surprise me at all if Australians just took to the pitch with just like, we're going to beat the shit out of you with actual bits of metal now.
That would be a fun sport. Yeah. There is a sport in one of the towns in Italy that basically you have 50 people on the side.
Oh, and they set it on fire.
Kind of net. No, this is something different. They have this net, like it looks like it could be a soccer match, and then they're like, okay, there are no rules. That's it. You can't have weapons, but it's basically a combination of MMA and rugby.
So there's one rule.
Yeah, I want to play. I'd get killed. Anyway, speaking of...
The rule is no one talks about Fight Club, apparently, is what that thing sounds like.
All right, so we're going to go with guidelines. I've made up this thing. I'm going to start calling this bio-like games, which are games like BioWare. We talked about this in the first show, and this is relating to, A, we're going to go over Anthem, and B, some other games that we want to talk about. Yeah. So there are 11 points. What makes up a BioWare game? You ready?
Yeah.
We're applying this to Anthem. Story branches. Does Anthem appear to have story branches?
Yes.
It does in a very small way.
Hey, we don't know how.
Well, we don't know how much it works.
It could, or I think they're going to try. Right?
I mean, to be like, Mass Effect Andromeda kind of had the issue where it felt like your choices didn't really matter much. And
well, a lot of those games, I think we should get into that in a future episode. But it's a difficult thing to pull off.
Oh, yeah.
As well as it was supposed to be the first one, like Mass Effect 1, although a lot of the choices, a decent amount of choices, you would see the repercussions for it in Mass Effect 1. You saw them a lot more in 2 and 3.
Yes, in a way. Like characters being alive is something.
Story. But you still got a complete story in one, whereas Anthem just felt like, oh, well, you'll find out in the next one. Well, it's like, great.
You know what I really want? I really want a bug person squad mate.
A Scar squad mate.
Yeah. I'm calling them bug people until someone tells me to stop.
Stop.
Point number 2, conversation branches.
Yes.
Isn't that what you just said?
Point number 2, conversation branches. That's exactly what I said.
What was the first? No, what was the first one?
Story branches.
Oh, story. Okay.
So there are. It's going to be binary, I believe. You're only going to have 2 options. So the answer is yes, but limited. But it's still yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Which, to be fair, it is like, you know, they have multiplayer features, so they're they're doing what they can. They're still giving you a BioWare experience, but with multiplayer. So it's like
it is
that's fine.
Literally impossible to have super impacting decisions and stuff in a multiplayer game, in a massive multiplayer game. I will be intrigued
to see what Anthem does with it.
Yeah. All right. Point number 3. It's an RPG.
Yeah.
Yes, Anthem is an RPG.
I think we're all agreed on that point.
Did anyone want to disagree with that? Okay. Point number 4.
My cat just climbed underneath the door. The door is shut, and she just wiggled her body through the crack.
It's a cat. Tucker, by the way, sent us a picture of a cat in a toilet during this episode.
With soon written on it.
I also put it on Twitter.
Point number 4. It's single player.
Half right?
I mean,
no, it's no. I'm going to go with no, it's not, because you can't play everything, and it's not going to be a single-player driven campaign.
Well, well, what it is, servers will have only 4 people, so even if you're playing alone, the chance of coming across the other 3 people is slim. Well, not slim, but it's a small chance of it happening, so you can really do this in single-player mode.
They said you can play single-player, but there's no way it's designed for single-player. So...
I mean, it could.
Okay.
You just have it. You have its enemy scale damage. Depending. I mean, it's going to be more complicated than that. But you have enemy scale damage.
Okay. Well, it's more of along the lines of plot and stuff. We will see.
Yes.
How about that? When the game comes out, we will come up with final ratings. In fact, it'll be fun to kind of rate games and see how bio-like they are based on this meter, which is the eventual goal. All right. Point number 5.
I was gonna say, just from Anthem, all I want is just this. Yeah, side point. I just want I want it to suck me into this world, and I really feel a world that feels tactile and tangible, and that this is a place that, you know, interesting characters. And then towards the end, I want it to hit me with a massive plot twist, so that it's like, oh my god! And that's what I think BioWare has been. Well, certainly Andromeda lacked, because there was nothing in Andromeda that could really qualify as a twist. It was like, your dead mum is alive. Were corrupted. The ones that look suspiciously like the Ket are actually the Angara. It's like, oh gee.
Well, the blue line people were technically, they were a twist, but you just didn't care about them.
Like, put it this way, like, a lot of people didn't like. They say a lot of people. Like, loads of people did love Dragon Age Inquisition, but there were still some people that felt a little bit. Dragon Age Origins and Dragon Age 2 really structured themselves around subverting who you thought the villain was, bits of lore that you took as gospel and then were subverted into being like, oh, that was someone lying. Now, Inquisition is a fairly straightforward story for most of it. It's only right at the end where it's like, and here's some curveballs, and it's like, what? Like, yeah, from someone who's been a diehard Dragon Age fan, like, spoilers for Dragon Age Inquisition.
Spoilers!
But you have this guy in your party who's like, oh, I know things, and he hangs around, and like, you can befriend him, and you can, if you're a female elf, you can fall in love with him, and he breaks your heart, and then it's revealed at the end of the story, oh, holy shit, he was a god who betrayed the world and basically screwed everything. And it's like, holy shit, that is really serious implications. And literally the whole of the last bit of DLC we got was going to confront him to get him to explain himself. And that was fascinating. Like, everyone loves Trespasser. It is pretty much the citadel of the Dragon Age franchise.
So, you know how people compare, or how they say, like, Witcher and, well, CD Projekt Red in general, how they're similar to BioWare with their stuff?
Yeah.
Some news that people that are fans of BioWare games would also
Tucker, we're going to get into that later. This is something that you can't derail it.
No! Don't think you're about to say the same news that I did.
Fine.
Because Henry Cavill is going to play Geralt in the Netflix Witcher show.
Which is exactly like what you were talking about.
They have
well, because a lot of BioWare fans would also be a fan of Witcher 3 and things like that, and it's like, oh, in relation to Witcher, because I wanted to segment within my segment, Henry Cavill will play Geralt.
Well, they have exactly the same emotional
Netflix shows
range.
are interesting. Some of them are really, really good, and they're putting out some real garbage now. So I hope that's good.
Well, it all depends on who's the writer.
I guess
it's not like Netflix themselves is just like them doing that.
Well,
so
you can filter shows and decide not to put bad ones on, but they just throw everything up there. Anyway, so yeah, back to we went story branches, conversation branches, RPG, single player, right?
Yeah.
And then
I mean, is Accidentally Casual, is our podcast a BioWare game? Because there are conversation branches.
We'll get into that later. We're still on Anthem.
And it's an RPG. We are we are playing ourselves. Like,
I guess
we are playing this role.
Oh my god, you broke
there
the
are
world,
story.
Tucker. What have you done?
And it is a single player
What
thing.
have you done?
Friends are optional.
Can I mute you? Hold on. Let me see if I can mute you.
I'm breaking it. I found it.
We're doomed.
All right. Let's finish this up and go over it quickly. We're in the middle of looking at Anthem now that we have more information as the BioWare-like game. Is it a major release game?
Yes.
The answer is yes.
Damn it, that's not our life.
Is there a focus on characters?
Yes.
It looks like they're trying to do that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Are they going for a super in-depth sci-fi or fantasy universe?
Hell yeah.
Damn it, that's not our life either.
Yes. Is it story-based?
Yes.
Yeah.
Probably. Can you create your own character?
Yes.
Well, yes, you can.
Well, no,
you can be male or female or whatever, and maybe you don't have the control you want, but...
I mean, from what it sounds like, they don't have character customizer the way they have previously.
Tucker, you're not playing as Super Mario. You are creating your own character.
Well, no. It's from the way it says face options. So what people are thinking.
Tucker, you are creating your own character. You're debating a point that is in stone.
Yeah.
Stop it. You lose. You lose this point.
You lose. Good day, sir.
Go talk about Geralt and Superman in a corner. Is it squad based?
Yes. The squad
but in a different
members
way.
Are actual
It's
other
squad
people
with
now,
friends.
but it's squad based.
I mean, yeah, you've had games in the past that are squad based where the characters are kind of nothing there. So yes, squad based. Is there romance?
Not at launch.
Only in your head.
That also sounds like real life.
For you.
Not at launch and in our
This
head.
is just like real life where you can go up to attractive people and they will shoot you down.
Who shot you down in a BioWare game? Oh, sorry, Gianna Parasini, your one true love.
No, she was into me. She was just afraid to say it.
Right. Okay.
Well, she bought me a beer.
So she could go get you to do something she needed. She's a super
That's okay.
spy. She's out of your league.
Yeah, that's hot. Okay. So anyway, if you want us to write in and talk about other games that we want to cover, we'd love to hear you say. I asked what other games people wanted to cover, and almost exclusively, everyone said Cyberpunk 2077.
Or Death Stranding, which I was like, really? But yeah, okay.
No, I mean, trust me, it was like a 9-to-1 ratio.
Oh yeah. I'm not saying that
Cyberpunk.
it wasn't the majority. I'm just saying I saw one person say, "Oh, Death
Yeah,
Stranding." I was
Death
like,
Stranding, and you're afraid of Hideo Kojima because he's creative, right? Let me just sum up what you said in a totally biased
Yeah.
way.
I'm afraid of Hideo Kojima because he's creative. No, I've seen the footage from Death Stranding.
I have no idea what's going on in that
The word
game.
that leapt to mind to me was pretentious bullshit. I mean,
Oh
it
my
looks
God.
interesting.
Boo!
Boo me all you
Let
like.
him do his crazy stuff.
Oh, they are. They're like Sony are funding
He doesn't
him
make
to do
bad
whatever
games,
he
and now the one thing, and we will try to cover that. Although there's just, I mean, at this point, full speculation, because if we were to go over the BioWare scale on this, I don't know where it would be at. It'd probably be around 50% or something, right?
Yeah, I guess.
So
I
it's
wasn't
on the
keeping
borderline of stuff
math.
we'll talk about. But this is the first time he's doing a game where he doesn't have someone really giving him oversight, because Sony lets their creative people do whatever they want. So I'm thinking like Hideo Kojima without any limits on him. This will be the most batshit crazy thing ever put in like
It
visual
already
context.
is, and we haven't even really seen anything of it yet. It's like, oh, Norman Reedus has a fetus in a jar for reasons.
Yeah, it seems like a sci-fi baby clone weird thing delivery game.
And Guillermo del Toro is in it for reasons. And like,
Well, because
okay.
there's actually interesting reasons for that, but if we get in for more information, we'll go over that. Anyway, Cyberpunk 2077, that'll be the main topic of our next game.
Yes.
And we will actually talk about it because we wouldn't have recorded it 4 times before. So that's good.
And
But don't do it. Don't
Huh?
do it, Tucker. Don't ruin us.
No. Like, Tucker, seriously, if you don't want to play Cyberpunk, I don't know what's wrong with you.
I'm just from what
Well,
I've
hold on,
seen
hold on.
of it,
Don't ruin next week's show.
Let him dig his own grave. Come on.
No,
Tucker, tell us.
don't ruin
why
next
do you
week's show.
Not want to play
Next-
Cyberpunk.
No, next week's show is going to be all about making fun of Tucker. Just
That
like
is-
every week's show.
That is the literal basis. That is the foundation of our podcast, Minius.
But let's trust me. Let's save that so we can actually have something to talk about on next week's show,
Okay,
because that'll
fair
be
enough.
because we can go in depth.
Fair enough.
This episode's going to end up being a little bit shorter. But if you have an extra game, and right now I think we've talked about the games that are most on the BioWare meter that have been announced or we know are coming out. Dragon Age #1, Cyberpunk 2077 #2.
Just so people don't kill me, like, the more I see of Death Stranding, if it looks interesting, if it looks like it's an actual... Like, it doesn't look like Kojima just spraying his creative juice all over the place and saying, "See my masterpiece!" I will certainly play it. I'm sure I will. I just can't guarantee I'll enjoy it. So please don't kill me for not liking the look of it so far.
In all fairness, you have no idea what that game's about because no one does.
No, Kojima doesn't even know. I'm sure.
Like, I guarantee he knows. I guarantee he knows exactly. Whether or not it works out is something different.
Yeah.
But I've doubted him before and he came through. So
Oh, what did you doubt him on? I'm curious.
I didn't think Metal Gear Solid 5 was going to work out. I thought somehow, even though Konami was all over him on that, and it ended up basically kicking him out, that game was really, really good. So
I just remember laughing my head off when was it E3 that he was like, oh yeah, there's totally a legit reason for why Quiet looks like that, and you guys are gonna feel so ashamed of yourself when you say she looks ridiculous. And it's like, oh yeah, great.
right, so next week, 2077.
Yeah.
Do you know the original Cyberpunk tabletop game was Cyberpunk 2020?
Yes.
Do you know that's like in 2 years?
Did it have really good vision?
All right, where's the mute button? I don't know where it is. So that's it for this week. If you like this show, tell your friends. If not, tell your enemies. I think we'll be happy either way. Next week,
Yes,
Cyberpunk 2077. If you want to email us, check out, or you can go to accidentallycasual@gmail.com, and we have extra content on our YouTube channels, probably BioWare Central by the time this gets out, and Minius GC.
Woo!
So, for Seeker Cat and the Tucker, I'm Minius, reminding you to try to game happy.
Game happy, guys.
Because I have like 5 o'clock shadow, my face feels like a Beanie Baby.